Welcome back to TC Talks. I'm your host, TC, and today we're going to be talking about Week 16 of the NFL season. We got some great games going on, like the Rams battling the Seahawks right now. The Seahawks currently on top, 7-6, but the Rams, they've been driving for a few minutes now. 4 minutes left in the quarter. We're going to see what's going to happen before halftime. Hopefully the Rams don't do anything because I got money on the Seahawks. But before we get into all of those games, the Bears taking on the Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on their division rival Panthers, we got to talk about the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are currently on the hunt for a new home. We thought it was going to be Chicago. We thought it was going to be Arlington Heights. And now they've announced that they could go as far as Northwest Indiana. And the thing is, it's not as far as you think. There is a city in Indiana, in Northwest Indiana, of all places, that borders Chicago. And that place just so happens to be where I'm at right now. Welcome to Hammond, Indiana, everybody. The one city in all of Indiana that borders the great city of Chicago. And the Bears, you can come join us right here, be right in my backyard, get off of work, go to a Bears game. Nothing would be better. This is the spot to be, Chicago, or should I say the Bears, because this is the new home for the Chicago Bears. Hammond, Indiana. Join us, bask in the glory of all that is Hammond. But in all honesty, it's a little bit of a tricky situation. Chicago and Illinois, criticizes the Bears of playing hardball, maybe being a little too aggressive in these deals, in these debates, in this back and forth. But the Bears, they're just looking to be able to own something. They're looking to get a little money in return for moving to a new stadium. And Hammond, or Indiana specifically, the governor was like, yeah, buddy, come here. We'll help you out. We'll give you all the money. So if Chicago follows the money, they're going to be coming to my neck of the woods. And I'm going to have the Chicago Bears or the Hammond Bears in my backyard. But let's get into these games. We got a good slate of games. In the first one, the Rams have actually gone ahead. I'm sure everybody's going to know this at this point, but the Rams are on top now, 13-7 against the Seahawks. They just scored with a few minutes left in the second quarter. Matthew Stafford threw a touchdown pass, and all is good. That pass was caught by none other than Terrence Ferguson. Great effort overall from top to bottom. So the Rams now back on top. Somebody that doesn't matter for my fantasy prospects. Hopefully that doesn't go against you in your fantasy playoff weekends, because we're all searching for the title. I'm in the second to last round, the conference finals, if you will, and I need to come away with a win. I'm the only one left here at work that is left in the winning pool. Everybody else is a bottom feeder. My boss, his best friend, everybody. But here I am on top, reigning supreme, 49% chance to win. So hopefully we're able to pull it out. I believe in my team. Drake London's coming back. He's going to have a big game. Mike Evans is back in there. I benched him the week before, but he's going to get me 21 this week just for being extra special. But these games, we can start off on Saturday after this game on Thursday night with a very much dud. And one of these teams, we heard a lot of smack from one of these teams as Bears fans all last year. We heard it into this year until something happened. Something magical happened. The Chicago Bears beat this team. And this team hasn't been the same since. Kind of familiar there, isn't it? It's almost like poetic justice, because the Chicago Bears beat the Washington Commanders, and the Commanders have not looked the same since. Yes, of course, they're without their God, their Messiah, Jaden Daniels. However, they're now the oldest team in the league. Might as well be. They're basically irrelevant. They are abysmal. And they're going up against another team that the Chicago Bears beat up on. In fact, the Chicago Bears, they beat up on this whole division. They helped out the Eagles for most of the season, but when it came to the head-to-head, Chicago said the blessings are out. They have runneth over, and we are stopping the delivery of these blessings. In fact, we will receive the blessings. And the Chicago Bears sit in second place in the NFC playoff picture. And the Rams, they need to fall here. And then the Seahawks, they just need to, have Sam Darnold be Sam Darnold at some point. And the Chicago Bears back in first place in the conference. They're going to be beating the Packers. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this game, big doo-doo dunkerhead. It doesn't matter. It's an embarrassment. And all you Washington Commanders fans, all I got to say is, where is your God now? But for the actual good game with playoff implications, in this Saturday set of games. We got the Chicago Bears hosting the division rival, the arch rival, Green Bay Packers. And this game, the last time these two met, it was a shootout. 28-21 the final. Some mistakes on both sides of the ball, but the big names in this game that are going to be making the biggest difference without even being there, Micah Parsons, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, all key players, Christian Watson, all out. Both teams going to be going into this game with some serious injuries under their belt. And which team is going to be able to grit their teeth, pick themselves up, and come away with a win? Because the winner of this game essentially will win the division. Good chances to win the division to whoever wins this game. Because the Bears, they're going to be playing the 49ers. Then they end the season against the Detroit Lions. Those are no easy games. Those are going to be tough games to come away with a win. And then the Packers, they got a little bit of an easier stretch. They play the Ravens, which could be a difficult game. The Ravens, they've been kind of spicy. They're hunting for that playoff spot, and it could be a decent game, especially with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. You never know with those two. But then they end the season with their toughest opponent yet, somebody that nobody wants to face, and that is 9. And the Minnesota Vikings will be hosting the Packers to end the season for Green Bay, and you can't think of a scarier opponent to go up against than that cornball. I can't even do it. That cornball 9. I mean, what a gift for the end of the season for the Green Bay Packers. So as much as I like the Bears' chances of winning the division, coming away with first place overall in the NFC, it's going to be a tall task, especially when the Packers got such an easy end to their season. Then we really don't have another good game for quite some time. Chargers taking on the Cowboys. Chargers should win, but at this point, the Cowboys, maybe they play spoiler a little bit. Dak Prescott plays out of his mind. I really don't know. That defense has been wonky, been terrible over the past few weeks. So we'll see what happens there. The Bengals and Dolphins, this is going to be a game of who actually wants to lose the most, not who wants to win. So the better team here will lose, is what I'm saying. Then you got the Bills. They take on the Browns, and the Browns, they just got smoked by the Bears. So the Bills, as much as I love Chicago, as much as I think Chicago can go toe-to-toe with anybody, Josh Allen and this offense, this Bills offense, should be able to steamroll the Browns 100%, no problem. But Josh Allen, hold on. Is he going to be the quarterback that gives Myles Garrett the world record, the NFL record at the very least, of sacks in a season at 23? I think it's possible. But last time I checked, when I played Madden 11, I had a guy that had 29 sacks on rookie mode. So, you know what? Myles Garrett ain't got nothing on me. Then you have the Vikings and Giants. Again, who wants to lose this game more will be the actual winner when they lose this game. That's how this game is going to go. Chiefs, Titans. I mean, Chiefs are done. Titans have been done. But then we get to a big one. The leaders of the NFC South. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are looking for all ways to blow their chances to win the division and make the playoffs. And then you got the Bryce Young-led Carolina Panthers. And these teams, they both should have came away with the victory this past week, but both of them came away with losses. The Saints able to beat up on the Panthers, and then the Buccaneers falling to Kirk Cousins, his first game back in action with the Atlanta Falcons. Just two absolutely abysmal games. And honestly, this might be another one of those games. Despite the stakes for these two teams, they might just be like the other games. Who wants to lose the most is the actual winner of this contest. Saints and Jets, Jags and Broncos, though, that is going to be a big game. The Broncos, they just claimed sole ownership of the AFC. And this is big for Broncos fans to come away with a big win against the Green Bay Packers last week. Bo Nix looked pretty good. That Denver defense also looking pretty good. So you hope to carry that momentum against a conference opponent like the Jags. The Jags obviously coming off of a big game where Trevor Lawrence had 6 total touchdowns, 5 through the air, 1 on the ground. And it's going to be an interesting game to see because the Broncos, known for their defense. The Jaguars, known to be the Jaguars, of course. So honestly, it's going to come down to if Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to outpace Bo Nix. And with a defense like the Denver Broncos have, I think that's going to be a tall task. But it's not like the Jags have an easy offense either. And obviously, Travis Etienne Jr., he was a big problem this past week. Helped me out a lot in fantasy. Appreciate it, buddy. But Is he going to be able to do that again this week? I hope so, because guess what? You're in the starting lineup again, so come through. But honestly, big game for the playoff picture, and it's going to be interesting to see. Then the Falcons play the Cardinals. In this game, even though it's not for anything, even though it's really a bunch of bottom feeders, this game should be fun. It should be a shootout. You got Kirko back there again, slinging the rock. He's got Drake London, who, buddy, you got to ball out, who's on my fantasy team, coming back into the lineup. And speaking of coming back into the lineup, Jacoby Brissett, he's going to be getting one of his weapons back as well. I'm talking, of course, about Marvin Harrison Jr. Should be returning this week. We'll wait to see what happens to say for certain, but should be a good game against two teams that should be good, I guess you could say, to put it nicely. But honestly, this is going to be a very interesting game to see. It's going to be a shootout, and I would not be surprised if we end up seeing some high numbers scored in this game. Then the Steelers play the Lions. Both of these teams in very interesting situations. The Steelers coming away with a win last week to guarantee yet again another winning season for this franchise. 3 different head coaches, a number of quarterbacks getting starts, and they have been able to maintain winning seasons for, I think it's 21 straight seasons at this point. Ridiculous numbers, ridiculous credence to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Being able to do that is absolutely ridiculous. And this is going to be a big game for both teams because the Steelers coming away with a big win last week, and they still got the Ravens nipping at their heels, trying to find their way into the playoffs, taking the spot away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Aaron Rodgers, he's got to keep it up. He's got to light up the field. He's got to be in command of that offense, and they got to be able to score points because they're going up against the highest scoring offense in the NFL. We're talking about the Detroit Lions led by Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, what's going to be going on with him. But Jahmyr Gibbs, buddy. Jahmyr Gibbs has been a blessing to me this year. He's literally carried my fantasy week in and week out. Yes, he's had some off days, but those days he's been off, he's scored just enough to give me some W's. So thank you for working hard. And I like to think that because my dog, my childhood dog, we named him Gibbs, obviously not after Jahmyr, but after Special Agent Gibbs from NCIS. I like to believe because of him looking down on me from up above, he has inspired Jahmyr Gibbs to absolutely ball out this season and grant me the path to the championship in my fantasy league. But it's going to be a big game for both these teams. The Lions nipping at the playoffs, trying to get into that final spot. Packers currently claim it, and the Lions, this could be the game where they're able to get ahead of the Packers because the Packers, they're going to fall to the Bears, and then you're going to have the door wide open for this Lions team. And then the Steelers, they need to hold on for dear life. They need to have a steel grip, if you will, on first place of the division, because if not, the Ravens will be right there to swoop in and take away that first place. Then the Ravens play, or the Raiders play the Texans, and that's not really a game. Shouldn't be a game at the very least. Texans should walk away with it, as Brendan Perna would say. The Strouds should gallop out of here with a win. But the Patriots, they have a interesting game coming up because they just blew a 21-point lead to the Bills and Josh Allen, and it's going to be interesting to see how they respond to that. Drake May, he struggled when he's been losing in the fourth quarter, so is that defense going to be able to hold true? Is he going to be able to score enough points in the beginning 3 quarters of the game to be able to stay up top? It's going to be very interesting to see how this team responds, especially, like I said, they're going up against the Ravens, who are trying to get into that first place spot within their own division, and currently the Patriots, they got Josh Allen right behind them with his Buffalo Bills. So a fall here could have massive implications for the playoff picture for the New England Patriots because they could lose the division. They could fall down in the wild card. It's going to be a very interesting situation if New England does, in fact, lose this game. And the Ravens coming away, being able to sneak a win away here would be big for their playoff picture. And then finally, you got the Colts taking on the 49ers on Monday Night Football. And this is huge. This is monumental. The Colts obviously trying to run it back with Phillip Rivers yet again. And honestly, dude, it was a good fought effort last week against the Seattle Seahawks, able to only come away with a little bit of points, but only lost on a last-second field goal to a team that everybody thought was basically untouchable. But to their credit, they were able to win a tight game. But the Colts, with a guy coming back after 5 years away from football, put themselves in a position to win the game, almost was able to do it against a top-tier NFC team. So you got to give them their flowers. You got to think in this contest against the 49ers, yet again, another hard team from the NFC West that they're going to be going up against. Hopefully they're able to kind of deflate this team a little bit for the Chicago Bears and come away with a big win with Phillip Rivers under center. But the 49ers, they've been rolling as of late. Brock Purdy recovering from that 3-interception game earlier this year. So honestly, it's going to be an interesting situation in this game. Are we going to see Christian McCaffrey break the 1,000 again this year? Is Phillip Rivers going to ball out like no other 45-year-old has? We really don't know. But what I'm hoping for is a little bit better of a performance than we saw from the Colts this past week, because honestly, Phillip Rivers needs to sling it. Honestly, like who wants to see anything other than prime Phillip Rivers come to life, even if it's just for one more game, and just absolutely dominate the 49ers? I would love it, personally, as a Bears fan. And, honestly, even as somebody that likes the 49ers and Brock Purdy, great story. But Phillip Rivers coming back after 9 kids, to be able to dominate in the NFL yet again, not too bad for me. But honestly, those are the games there. I'll give you my predictions of these games. Obviously, I think the Seahawks are going to bounce back. They're going to come away with the victory against the Rams. We'll see if that holds true. The Eagles will beat the Commanders. Bears beat the Packers. Chargers beat the Cowboys. The Bengals, I want to be able to believe in them because this is a bad Dolphins team. But the Dolphins, they're going to be given the start to one of their own little rookie quarterbacks. It is not going to be Tua Tagovailoa, as some people would say. But, it's going to be an interesting matchup. I do think that the Bengals should come away with the win here, but I'm not going to be surprised if the Dolphins, with a new fire under them, with a little bit of momentum possibly from the quarterback switch, would be able to come away with the victory. Then you got the Bills taking on the Browns. Like I said earlier, the Bills should handle the Browns, but Myles Garrett, maybe he's smelling that record, and he just dominates all game long. The Vikings should handle the Giants. The Chiefs should beat the Titans, even with Gardner Minshew in there. I just don't believe in Cam Ward and that team just yet. Cam Ward's fine. Situation he's in, not necessarily. Then you got the Panthers taking on the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers, they've just dropped games they should win against moderate opponents. And the Panthers, they've more so risen to the occasion and kind of, again, lost games that they really shouldn't this season. So I'm going to give it to the Panthers in this one, even though I do need Mike Evans to go crazy, even though Baker Mayfield is my quarterback in one of my leagues. I do think it's going to be the Panthers in this one, and I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Panthers win this one. The Saints, they've been rolling with Tyler Shaw, so I think it's going to continue to go in that direction. They're going to steamroll the Jets. Even though they do got a better defense, I do think the Saints they have the it factor right now for one of the bottom feeder teams. Then the Jags taking on the Broncos, and just for you, Brandon Perna, my best friend, I will give you the Broncos over the Jaguars. Thank you so much for the curse wheel. It's helped me out a lot. And also, thank you for beating the Green Bay Packers this past week. Then you have the Falcons taking on the Cardinals, and you know what? Kirko, ball out, get the win. Let's see it, okay? He's my quarterback. He's going to be thrown to Drake London. I need them to perform at a high level. Give me 30 points from Kirk, 48 from Drake London, and it will all be fine. Kirko and Drake, the dynamic duo, will give me 78 points for the win in my season. But then you got the Steelers taking on the Lions. It should be the Lions in this game. The Lions should win, no problem, because honestly, as solid as the Steelers are, we've seen TJ Watt kind of die out. He's been a no-name factor in a lot of these bigger games, and I expect that to continue here. Meanwhile, the Lions, yeah, they kind of lost a bad game against the Ravens last week, or the Rams, rather, last week, but they have the potential to go off at any point, and I need Jahmyr Gibbs to go off, so they're going to win. 100%. Jahmyr Gibbs, 250 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 catches, another 47 yards. No problem. But then you got the Raiders taking on the Texans. The Texans, the Strouds, as Tom Grossi would say, come away with the victory there. The Patriots should beat the Ravens, and then the 49ers should beat the Colts. So that rounds out this slate of games this week. We'll be talking about the December 25th games, as some people would call that Christmas. If you don't, the December 25th games in the next episode that I do, but probably not going to be long form. Probably going to keep that in the shorts, so be taking a look out for that. Until next time, see ya.